Good morning and happy new year to you. Welcome to 2026 and connecting the dots with Dr. Food. We are so delighted you're here and also glad that Dr. David Hughes is joining us for another year of delivering insights from around the globe. I'm Charlie Arnot, CEO of the Center for Food Integrity, where our mission is to help today's food system build trust. Joining us from his home in the UK, which is not always the case, is Dr. Hughes, Professor Emeritus at Imperial College of London, and an expert in all things related to food everywhere around the world. David, welcome.
Thank you, and thank you. Well, Happy New Year, one and all, and let's hope it's a cracking good one. Although we're not having the best start, it's a stumbling weather start here. It's Storm Goretti, we've just been told. It's arriving this afternoon and this evening, and we've all been told, stay in, don't go out. So there
Well,
we go.
a good time to have a glass of wine. Absolutely. So we are live this morning, which is a rare treat. So you can drop questions in the Q&A and we'll get to them as time allows. Our theme this morning is traditions and trends, how some are being impacted by regulation, culture, and our need for social connection. So David, first off, tell us a little bit about your Christmas holiday.
Right. Okay. Well, family tradition, Charlie, for the family Hughes is that all 11 of us gather in Devon, which is a lovely part of England in the southwest of England, actually, where my son Garth owns, amongst other things, 3 pubs. And as you'll know, in England, a pub is integral, really, to social life. So, whoopee, but they're under pressure, for goodness sake. Like 5 pubs a week across England just go out of business.
Oh, wow.
So whilst they're going out of business, we're trying to buy them as it happens. Why? Because our pubs, we sort of set them up to be social hubs. For example, if we take the Royal and the Golden Lion, 2 pubs in 2 small towns which are adjacent to each other, of course they're a place for a drink, but they're much more than that, actually. We sponsor a darts team, we have a pools team, Skittles team, Skittles, that's the ancestor to 10-pin bowling. It's not all about booze too, it's an afternoon tea and cake session for ladies who like to knit on a Wednesdays, live music every week, and also we have quiz nights, music quiz nights, again with teams. And we have a weekly supper club, which is usually on a Thursday, where we serve traditional English fare, that is curry. And actually our pubs are wet pubs, as we call them. So they have no kitchens, so we do no cooking there, but we prepare the curry in a restaurant that we own, and then we bring it to the pub. It's very, very popular. In addition to that, too, we'll, particularly near Christmas, we organize a bus or buses to take our customers to perhaps the horse racing or maybe to the larger cities, not a big city, called Exeter near us for Christmas shopping, etc. So, there's a whole social mix going on there. And on Christmas Day, it's a brilliant day for us, actually. We only open for 3 hours on Christmas Day between 11 and 2. And all 11 of us go to our 3 pubs to see the locals. It's extraordinarily jolly. Locals come in and of course they get a drink on the house, and then our difficulty is trying to get them to leave. They bring their families, the children come, and for certain their dogs come. Sometimes there's more dogs than people in the pubs. And if we didn't allow dogs in, we wouldn't have any customers. It's fun, and people will be lost without it, actually. So if the pub, we think, if the pub doesn't have a strong social aspect, then you run the risk you'll go bust. So that's not for us.
Sounds like a delightful holiday, David. Congratulations. Sounds absolutely delightful. Okay, our second topic on the theme, another British tradition is now being impacted, this time by animal welfare regulations. This is fascinating because oftentimes what happens over there makes its way over here. So more importantly, the rules can also impact food prices. So tell us the latest on animal welfare.
Right. It was intriguing, Charlie, because on December 21, when you'd hoped that government would have gone back home for their Christmas holidays, they sort of almost sneaked in a new animal welfare strategy with the promise of supporting legislation coming in during 2026. And I think it's important for you guys because it will affect meat and egg product exporters from the US and from other countries into the UK. Just to give you an example of some elements of it. So if you take hogs, for example, pigs, we're moving away. There's going to be a banning of sow crates.
Hmm.
Now, I know that's a sort of controversial issue for you in the US. So, sow crates, of course, are used to constrain the sows so that they don't roll onto their piglets and crush them. But then it's felt unfair to the pigs because it just constrains them. So, they're going to be banned. And then let's take a look at eggs. We're moving towards, in 2026, 100% cageless egg production.
Hmm.
Essentially, we're there already, but we still have something called enriched cages, so just bigger cages where they can move around a bit more. But all our eggs will go free range. At least free range when they're allowed to be, because of course, if there's an official order for us to keep our hens back inside because of avian influenza, then there's a requirement to do so. So, I mean, the point is that if you're exporting pork products, any processed egg products from a country, from the US into the UK, then you'll have to meet the same standards as our farmers have. So, for my mind, that gives you a sort of potential trade mess and another thing to argue about. And I know the US has its eyes on the UK pork market, and we are a significant importer of processed eggs. It will raise food costs, but I guess the understanding is that we're a very animal welfare friendly country in the UK, and people are willing to, all right, if we've got to pay a little more for treating the animals, the hens better, then so be it. But it's intriguing because eggs are becoming, or are perceived as such anyway, as being much more important protein in diets. It's notwithstanding the price hikes that we've seen in the US actually and in the UK this past year. So I think actually eggs and egg products are much higher profile than I can remember them being in the past. Moving on, here's actually a quirky animal welfare issue relating to traditional British fox hunting. So,
Hmm.
historically, aristocrats, those who owned all the lands, went on horse to hunt foxes with their hounds, right across their states, of course, across their farms. Now, this was banned 20 years ago, and they switched to trail hunting. So what's trail hunting? That's where the trail master, the fox hunting master, would take a rag soaked in sort of fox scent and run a trail for, let's say, I don't know, 10 miles. And then the horses and the hounds would follow that rather than the foxes. So we've had trail hunting, but now government are going to ban trail hunting. Now, why would they do that? Goodness me. Because here's no surprise, actually. The second the hounds get the sniff, the scent of a real live fox, then they're off. And the minute they do that, then animal welfare folk who are watching the hunts very carefully are taking pictures and publishing them in the media. So that's to go. Now, some of the countryside citizens, of course, outraged. Why wouldn't they be? They view the ban as being an attack on rural Britain and British culture.
Sure.
But frankly, most ordinary urban folk, just what do they see hunting? They see very rich people on expensive animals riding through their countryside. Frankly, when I look at the survey data, any younger people, they're much more likely to support the foxes than they are the landed gentry. So that's a sort of a quirky little animal welfare change.
Interesting, because when you think of England and think about many movies and series that we've seen on television, watching the fox hunt was always a key component of those. Back to eggs, we commissioned a very extensive study several years ago looking at different laying hen housing systems. And the best balance of animal welfare, food safety, worker care, et cetera, was enriched cages. But as we know, decisions, political decisions, et cetera, are based on social concerns and social pressure and not science. So it's just one more example of how that's playing out in the UK and something clearly we need to continue to pay attention to here. Okay, last topic. It's that time of year when we look back at the preceding year, what's trending, what's in, what's out. And David, you have some insight on some sectors that did not fare quite so well in 2025. Tell us about it.
Right. Yes. So looking back on 2025, what retail category did the worst? Well, actually, it was for the category that is sort of a composite category covering vapes, cigarettes, and tobacco products of various sort. And dear me, it was down 1.5 billion dollars in sales year on year, which is a heavy duty bang. And why? Well, if you take those products, increasingly, particularly the tobacco ones, not the vaping ones, are being increased in tax. And so, for example, a cigarette, a 20 packs of cigarettes, that it's now $20. So that's $1 per cigarette at the moment. That's about double what it is for you guys in the US. And people are squeezed for money here as they are in the US, and they're cutting back on cigarettes. So are they turning to vaping? Well, yes and no, because back in June of 2025, the government banned the sale of disposable, so non-refillable vapes. Actually, that was more aimed at children. It was put in place to stop underage children from buying them. You know, those ones, Charlie, with they're like candy flavors and what have you.
Sure.
And of course, from a UK point of view, this is health driven. We're trying to take the pressure off our National Health Service, which is creaking, and it's under huge budgetary pressure. So what are smokers doing? Well, some are giving up, but they're also going to the black market. So the UK loses $3 billion a year on contraband cigarettes, and
Wow.
there's some estimate that 1 out of 4 cigarettes is contraband. And so, for example, I've seen this happen actually. People will go for the day, if you live in the south of England, they'll go for the day to France on a ferry, and they'll take a pram, whether they've got a baby or not. And in France, cigarettes are much, much cheaper, and they'll come back with a pram full of cigarettes and and then retail them often, through the pub networks actually. So is this sad news for big tobacco? Well, it is to a degree. They've lost cigarette sales, but if we take the other side of the coin, which was the fastest growing category, it was for nicotine replacement products. And
Sure.
that was going up 25-30% year on year. So I don't fully understand. I've never used the damn things, but tobacco sticks, I understand, or nicotine pouches. The one you just pop it between your teeth and gum. They're hugely popular in Scandinavia. It's always intrigued me that they're so sort of ahead of the curve in many respects of the Scandos, but they do like nicotine, I can tell you. So tobacco and vaping to a degree has taken a hit. Alcohol sales, of course, just like in the USA, it struggled in 2025, and we see this huge growth in low or no alcohol beers and spirits. Although what amused me, was that there was an alcohol product that did spectacularly well, and it's made in the USA, and it's called Buzzballs. So that's
Oh,
buzz
yes.
and ball with a Z. And it's ready to drink cocktails in round spherical glass containers or plastic containers. They retail for about $5 a go in the US. Actually, they're now in our supermarkets, I might say, where they retail for $4. And they've shot to fame with TikTok. And they've done hugely, hugely well. We just hope they won't turn into be the sort of thing that you use when you binge drinking. You know how students can be. Far
Right.
be it from me. Let he who is blameless cast the first stone. So, but one other note, just let me go back to pubs, if you'll allow, Charlie, that my son noticed that he was told by some of his big cider and beer customers that, hey, what's happening? People are turning to wine, particularly red wine, as it happened. What's going on here? And so Garth, my son, he went to those customers and said, why have you switched? You've always been a big cider or beer drinker. And they said, well, we're GLP-1 users, and almost to a man and woman, they said we've got to just park beer and cider and move on to wine. So the wine industry will be just delighted, of course, because globally, frankly, the world is awash with wine, and they're looking for something that will just push consumption up a little bit. So,
That's
yeah,
fascinating.
yes.
Yeah, GLP-1 is going to continue to restructure the food system as people's eating habits continue to evolve as that medication becomes more widely available and more widely used. Any final nuggets for us today, David?
Just the one. if you'll allow it, be indulgent. And it's especially crafted for you, Charlie, because
Okay.
I know you've got strong views on brassicas. Just like your 41st president, remember George Bush and the broccoli thing? Well, our leading horticultural supplier to the supermarket is launching, wait for it, I know we'll just be dripping with anticipation, a premium red kale in Tesco this month. And I'm sure that'll be at the top of your grocery list, Charlie.
Yeah, I don't think so. There was some recent research in the United States, David, that showed that if you replace your potato chips with kale chips, it will reduce any remaining joy you have in your life by 90%, right? So stay away from the kale. Stay away from the kale.
No,
Well,
it's got, I'm sure it's other uses, but it's more related to dairy cattle, I think, Charlie.
there we go. There we go. Well, that's all we have time for today. David, thank you as always. It's delightful to be able to kick off a brand new year with you. We're looking forward to seeing you every single month in 2026. Join us on February the 5th for the fastest 15 minutes in food with Dr. Hughes. Happy New Year to you all, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. Thanks, David.
Bye bye. Thanks all. Bye now.